Hi there and welcome to my channel. I'm happy you're watching. In this video, I show you some of my dearest pages of the collaboration with Angela, where everything is melting together, where the collaboration comes into its own. I also show you some of the pages which I was struggling with. The collaboration with Angela was my very first experience with art journaling. I've never done that before, and I was used to work on canvas. And I discovered it and I fell in love with it. I couldn't stop, I was addicted. One of my biggest challenges and my goal was to work with lighter spaces in a page. And on this page, I think this is a really good page because this is a dominant one and this one is looking at her. So there is a connection, there's a parallel, and here there are some flowers, here are some flowers. So I don't mind that this part of the book is white, but in many cases I see it as a goal, but also I see it as something like I simply don't like white spaces, blank spaces in, well, that are not filled at all. So, how I found my way in this in my further art process is, for example, on this page, to paint a lighter background, which is not exactly white, but for me, it's quite white, but I still have the space that I wanted to create on this page. And also with this one, the coffee page, I just use white with a bit buff titanium, and that's my background. But in this case, I really find it in harmony also with the white spaces here. So when there's white on this page, let it return on the other page as well. And then for me, it's kind of a code like this is perfect. Then we go to the next one. And this page and the one that's the next page are for me very spiritual pages. I created this image after I had a visualization from my aunt just before she died, and I saw her standing between rocks and with her feet in water. And this was for me like I wanna picture that, the picture that I have in my mind. I want to fill it in my art journal. So this was really a good thing for me to do. And funniest thing is that when you go to this page, what Angela did was creating the lilies, white lilies. And this was just a craft paper page with some things on it, the hand. And I also love the way that she writes down with very, very much liney, well, handwriting. I can't even read what's standing there, but I think it's wonderful and it's giving a kind of playfulness and a kind of movement to throughout the page. But I thought the flowers, there wasn't really much that she added. There was just this cutout. This was actually my first cutout, and it was very courageous to cut something out of a book of an art journal. It felt really like, ooh, what I'm doing now. The only thing that she's done was adding the lilies and the hand. And I wanted to make something special out of that. So I just created a new background so that the lilies were standing out even more. And I also cut out the hand because there was already a cutout. And then I had another hand that I could paste here as a kind of hand of God because that's really, well, connecting with my image. Here's another hand. So out of one hand, you can make three hands. So that was a very funny thing to discover. I also love this white frame. You can see it as a frame. I added a piece of a paper here. So it would be a frame with just flowers that Angela created. And I really love the way she's done that. And I didn't want to disturb her design too much, so I wanted the white to come back on this page as well through the hand and through this transfer paper. So if you look to this cutout, you can see piece of the lily, and when you go on and look on this page, you can see her fully, and it's go back to the source. Maybe you lost yourself, but you will find back some parts. So that was my cutout, and what's remarkable is that I saved the cutout from this part and I put it elsewhere in the book, but it's just broken, so I have to put it back. But on this piece, I wrote down, you found at least one part. Let's move on. One of my other favorite pages. It seemed that Angela and I did not only have a spiritual connection, in a way we had also a connection with music, because it was very weird. She wrote down the lyrics of a song, and here she did as well. And underneath, there's also lyrics from a song. I didn't know that song, but well, I loved the words. So I asked her, who's the artist? And she said, that's Aurora. So that was so strange because I was just working on a portrait from Aurora. At that time, I had no book to work in, so I worked on just a loose piece of paper, and I thought it had to be there. And this is the cover of the album from Aurora, so I thought it was so nice. And here's everything is melting together. What I find striking about Angela's work is that she uses a lot of flaps and things that are loose. I am used to sticking everything down on the pages as I am a painter and I work on canvas normally. So here you can clearly see that things are sticking out of the book like this, like this. And the next page is also something, well, at the first, when I first saw this page, I was like, it's a tea box with Stellamante, kind of minty. What should I do with this? And then I simply added, oh, this is something she did as well. And I think the color scheme was something that inspired me to go on with this page. I really loved these colors and I added just some patterns. This is, I think this is a Tibetan flag, totally colored. And what I found the biggest challenge came back on this page as well. There was a lot of white. Angela pictured a birdhouse here, and it's really adorable. I really love it. I fell in love with it. But there's, well, a kind of break in the pages. When this one wasn't there, it felt for me like it's broken in two because there's so many white, such a large white area here. So I just wasn't satisfied with that. I love this. This is connected with that. This is connected with this. Everything was connected, but the white piece, I found it simply too much. So what I've done is adding tulips. And well, this is a plant that I made a couple of years ago, and it was just in the attic, and I thought, well, it's perfectly matching this color and the other colors as well. So for me, this feels perfect, and as well, everything is coming together here. Her choice of colors, her tea box, her, well, flaps here, which you can all open a bit. So this is for me one of the best pages in the book. What's also remarkable is that you stick some things down and you don't need a page to be finished at once. So she glues down a tea box. I just do something with patterns. She adds the next time when the book is hers again. She adds this. I add that. It's a communication that goes on and on and on and on until somebody thinks, well, this page is finished. I was the last one that got this book, so I was the last one to decide whether a page was finished or not. And in some cases, I added something. In some cases, I just left it the way it was because it felt already good. But for me, this page is one of the best ones in the book. The next one, this was very courageous of Angela. She simply took out half a page of burlap. So I wouldn't do that those days. Now I'm doing that a lot of times and I really loved it. And I also love this. I think she's been to France too. Or the thrift shop. Or a grandma. And so I repeated kind of the lace that's here, and there's a pattern here. And in this case, I didn't mind that there was a lot of white space here. This was also remarkable because in her book, she used a feather as well, and I added this feather here. So there were synchronicities between us. So that was really a wonderful thing. And what I love about this is that there's a book flapping to the side like this. Whoop. And here you can see things that are a bit on this page, but it's also a bit, well, already telling what's coming next, the yellow. And here, this is also a tea bag with some seeds. And here I added some cards with plants again. So this is also a wonderful, a wonderful part of the book. And mostly it goes in a couple of pages that you found really wonderful because the page that came before, I also loved it. With this thicker, cardboard kind of thing. I wouldn't use that when I first started with art journaling, but now I find it very, I love it. And I also love the print that I made with it. I think I made a braid. Sometimes I just don't know who had done something, and that's also a sign that you are melting together, I think. So after this page is this page, which also was kind of a struggle to me because there was a lot of white, but I didn't want to fill in the background. And I love the bees that Angela added. So I was like, okay, I keep it this way. And I simply add a piece of paper with dried leaves in it. We go to the last few pages that I want to show you. There will be a flip through from the second part. So you will see all of the book later on. Here was a page which was to me so serene and subtle, and I was like, I want to keep it this way, how it is. Only added this piece of brown paper, which is also here on the page before. And here I simply added, I think Angela created this background. That's why I answered with this brown paper. And finally, I just added a kind of mini collage with an abstract thing, but also in matching colors. And this is the final page that I want to show you. I fell in love with this page. The first time I saw it, this is all Angela's creation, and I really loved the colors, the rusty browns, and I think the only thing I added, but I'm not sure, but this one I'm sure of, this is the only thing I added, is the Tulsi tea. And this page was filled with areas like this, and I added the Chinese lanterns, and I added the portrait, which was coming up intuitively. And this is an example of a page that is so well balanced. And I don't mind that there's a white, well, it's kind of a frame here. It's not in the middle where it's white, it's just a frame, and it's all coming together. Elements of nature, white, white, gray, gray. So I think this is, yeah, wonderful. And this book really inspired me on my own art journal adventure. So I am inspired in many, many ways. Thank you, Angela, for this collaboration. There is already a video from the first part of this book. I will put it in the end screen, and soon I will be posting the second video of the second part of the book. I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you do so, please give it a thumbs up, and it would be wonderful if you leave a comment about what is your favorite page. This will help my channel to grow. And I hope, of course, to see you next time.